So, Lord Balaram, he occupies a very unique position, and we'll discuss a little bit about Lord Balaram's position in the spiritual world, and a little bit about Lord Balaram's manifest Leela, Prakrit Leela, when he came 5,000 years ago with Krishna. So everybody is familiar with Lord Balaram. In the scriptures it is said that Lord Balaram is Krishna with a different body complexion. So Krishna has a dark blue complexion.
Can you engage the kids today? Ask some questions.
Sure. So Krishna's body complexion is dark blue, right? And Lord Balaram's complexion is whitish color, correct. So Lord Balaram is fair. So they say that Balaram is Krishna, but with a different body complexion. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, he's considered what is known as Vaibhav Prakash. So the very first expansion of Krishna is Lord Balaram. And through Balaram, everybody else expands. So Balaram has this unique privilege of being the most complete servitor of Krishna. He's called, there's an article in Back to Godhead titled The Servitor God, Lord Balaram. And the service is the currency in the spiritual world. That it's a privilege, and everybody is striving for it. Everybody is trying. Everybody is competing. We discussed once that everything that is here in the material world is there in the spiritual world, but the focus is a little different. That people in the spiritual world are also very passionate, but they're passionate about the service. They're very competitive, but competitive in terms of how well they can serve. Even amongst the gopis there is envy, but envy is also in terms of, we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, when Krishna disappears amongst the gopis during the time of Rasa dance, then they start following his footsteps. And then as they're following his footsteps, they notice that there are the footsteps of Srimati Radharani right next to Krishna. And they say that they understand that Krishna has left with this one special gopi. And they say she must be special. So they're also glorifying Srimati Radharani, but also they have this bhav of also wanting to be a part of Krishna's Leela. So Lord Balaram is superlative in that sense, that he serves Krishna in all possible ways. The entire spiritual world is an expansion of Lord Balaram. So in the Brahma Samhita it is mentioned that the spiritual world is completely sensient. It is completely, it has all the characteristics of sensient, Satchit and Anand. That every blade of grass, every piece of soil that is there, it is as sensient as, or a lot more sensient than us. They're all waiting for an opportunity to serve Krishna, and they're all an expansion of Lord Balaram. So not only is the spiritual world an expansion of Lord Balaram, Krishna's own paraphernalia is an expansion of Balaram. And so, what does Krishna, at least as Vishnu, what does Lord Vishnu sleep on? Does anybody know?
What does he sleep on?
What does he sleep on?
Yeah, what's the name of the snake? Anantashesh.
He sleeps on a state called Anantashesh. And Anantashesh is an expansion of Lord Balaram. So Anant means that, so Ant means ending, right? Anant means that
No.
unending, no ending. So that is Lord Balaram's nature, that there is no end to the service that he gives. And Shesh means remainder. So if you do maths in Hindi, then you divide and then you say this is the bhag and this is the shesh. This is the remainder. So when everything else is gone, Ananta Shesh remains. Lord Ananta remains because he fully absorbed in his service to Krishna. So the bed of Krishna, his slippers, his Brahman thread, everything is an expansion of Lord Balaram. So 5,000 years ago, so every time Krishna comes with Lord Balaram. Krishna is inseparable. So when Krishna came as Lord Ram, who was Balaram? Lakshman was Balaram. When Krishna came as Krishna, Balaram came as Balaram. When Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Balaram came as
Gauranga? Nitai.
Very good.
Nityananda.
when he came as Gaura, he came as Nitai. So they're always coming together. So in the Treta Yuga, when Lord Ram came with Lakshman, then Lord Ram made Lakshman do many things that were very difficult for him to do. What was one of the most difficult things that Lord Ram asked Lakshman to do? The most difficult thing. To do what? Why is everybody speaking so? Or maybe my hearing is not there. So initially I thought that the children are speaking, but now maybe I'm getting old and I have to get my hearing.
We are becoming one.
While he went on to hunt, so he asked to take care of Sita Mata.
Guard her.
So yeah, that was difficult. There was one thing that was even more difficult for him.
Living Sita in the forest.
When Kaikeyi asked Rama to go in exile, then Lakshman wanted to go, but Rama said no, you stay.
Yeah.
And I think Lakshman was very upset, and that I think was almost it. He said no, I cannot stay with them.
That is also true. That was very difficult for Lakshman. Leaving Sita Devi in the forest was very difficult. So when Dwapar Yuga came and Krishna said that it's time for me to come again, so then Balaram came and he gave the list of all these things. He said, in a previous incarnation, you really bullied and tortured me. When you were going to the forest, you were saying you should stay back. My heart was completely pierced at the time. You made me leave Sita Devi in the forest, and so many other things that you did. So this time, I'm not going to come as a younger brother. I'll come as a elder brother. So that at least as an elder, I have, of course, Balaram didn't know all of Krishna's potency. So Krishna said, okay, he can come as my elder brother. So in the pastime that happens, so you're all familiar with the pastime of Vasudeva and Devaki. They're imprisoned by Kamsa, and the 6 sons of Devaki, when they are born, they are killed by Kamsa. And the 7th son that appears in the womb of Devaki is actually Lord Balaram. So the Acharya Srila Prabhupada actually explains this in one of the purpose of the Bhagavatam, and based on commentary of Srimad Bhagavatam, that so in order to understand this, we have to go a little bit into ancient history. that once upon a time, very early in the creation of the universe, when Lord Brahma was in the process of creating different living entities, he created a woman, his daughter, by the name of Vak, and she was so beautiful that Lord Brahma became attracted to her, and he became so attracted to her that he started following her around, and then Vak, she understood Brahma's position as being the father, and she kept admonishing him that you're my father. It's Lena, can you give me a glass of water, please? So, so she said, you're my father. It does not behoove you to act in this way. Thank you. So at that time, many sages and different rishis, they formed a council and they went and spoke to Lord Brahma and spoke on the grounds of morality. They said, you are the grandsire of the universe, you are the Parampita, you are the knower of the Vedas. What you are doing right now, no Brahma in the past has ever done, and no Brahma in the future will ever do. What you are doing right now, no Brahma in any of the other universes will ever do. So we beg you to cease and desist now. And Brahma, listening to their advice, he felt very ashamed, and he gave up that mentality. He actually gave up his body, and his body appears as the Sandhya, the fog that happens at Sandhya, which is guys considered to be inauspicious. So that's why we do our Gayatri, and Brahmins, at least part of Brahmins, they will do the prayers at the Sandhya's time because of the inauspiciousness that is part of the reason, inauspiciousness that is there. So Prabhupada comments that that is the nature of a Mahapurush. It's not that they're completely immune from doing something wrong, but they're always open to correcting themselves. Because there is only one person in this whole creation who is infallible, and that is Krishna. So the fact that we are not Krishna means that we are fallible, which means that we will commit mistakes. Like they say, Lord is human. In this case, Brahma is more than human, but still he is fallible. But Prabhupada says that when people who some of them were his own sons and grandsons, when they came and spoke to him, Brahma, he understood, and he corrected himself. But at that time also, there was one of his sons. No, he was the son born of his intelligence. Name was Marichi, and Marichi is great rishi. So he had 6 sons who were also great rishis. So when they saw Brahma running like this after his daughter, then they started criticizing Lord Brahma, saying that, look, he's supposedly he is the father of the universe, and they started laughing at him, they started condemning him, and because of that offense, they were condemned. And so Prabhupada says that that's why we have to be very careful when we are judging Vaishnavas. So even though what Lord Brahma was doing was not correct, but it is not for us to judge them. It is definitely not for us to criticize and condemn. And Krishna, he is very protective about his devotees. In the Bhagavad Gita, he says, "Api chet sudoracharo bhajate mamananyava sadhureva samantavya sadhureva samyak deva sitahi saha samyak deva sitahi saha." So, api chet sudorachara. And durachara means doing bad things, sudurachara means doing very bad things. So apichet means even if somebody is doing very bad things, apichet sudurachara, bhajate mam ananyama. But if he is my devotee, sadhu eva sadhu, that you should consider him to be a sadhu. Why? Because sooner or later, such a person will be restored to their original position. So, any fall downs, any blemishes in the Vaishnavas are apparent fall downs, apparent blemishes, because they are under the purview of Krishna. Krishna will take care. The next verse actually speaks about that, which is becomes a dharmatma, right? Shashvat Shantam, that he gets restored to his original position, and Kvanteya Pradiganti, Name Bhaktiya Pranashati. That he's speaking to Arjun, Kvanteya. He says, Kvanteya, you announce this boldly, Name Bhaktiya Pranashati, that my devotees will never perish. Very clear terms he is saying. So that is Krishna's affection. And of course we should not take advantage of it. We should not say we are devotees and Brahma was doing this, so we can do something else. And the Shikaram Bhakti Dharma, like eventually we will become whatever. Accidental fall downs happen. And sometimes because of our conditioning, we do. And Krishna says that he will protect us. So because of this offense of these 6 sons of Marij, they were condemned. And they were born in an Asuric family. So in fact they were born as in the dynasty of Hirnaksha. So Hirnaksha had a son called Kalnemi, and they were born as the 6 sons of Kalnemi. So when they were born as the 6 sons, they still had that, because they were exalted sages, so they still had that propensity to perform austerities. So this was Satyug, Dhyan. So they went and they started performing austerities to please Lord Brahma. So when Hiranyakashipu, he came to know about this, he got very angry. And he said, why are you praying to Brahma? I am the God over here. You are in my own family, you are my brother's grandchildren, and everybody else is praying to me. What business do you have to pray to somebody else? So he hurts them. That because of this, your own father will kill you. So because of the influence of this curse, these 6 sons of Marij were born as the 6 sons of Devaki. And Kalnemi, there's another pastime in which Kalnemi was killed by Lord Vishnu, and he was then born again as Kamsa. So these 6 sons that were born were actually sons of Kamsa in the previous birth, and because of the curse of Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Kalnemi as Kamsa, killed his own 6 sons. So Prabhupada explains that Devaki represents bhakti, and Kamsa represents fear. So Kamsa's big fear was death. Krishna will kill me. What will happen? He was a strong person. He defeated so many demons. He defeated Indra. So he was very, very powerful. But still, despite all that power that he had, all the prowess that he had, he was always terrified. He was scared. So Kamsa represents fear, specifically fear in material existence. So Prabhupada says that when a devotee uses one's fear of material existence to remove the 6 anarthas that they have in their lives. So this Shat Garbhas represent the 6 anarthas: Kam, Krodh, Mat, Lobh, Moh, Matsarya, lust, anger, envy, greed, illusion, and madness. So these are the six anarthas that we are all struggling with. So when we So bhakti is the devotional service that we're trying to develop in our lives. So when we understand, when we begin to fear the material world, so the biggest challenge is that we don't fear the material world. Prabhupada will give the example of Prabhupada is from Calcutta, and when there is Kali Puja, then there is a big temple over there. And in the temple, there used to be a big line of goats. So people come and they give goats as for sacrifice. So there's like a priest, kind of, I guess he's like a priest, and the goat would be there, he would cut the head off, and the next goat would come and he would cut the head off. And there were literally a long line of goats. And then Prabhupada would comment that the goats standing in the lines, they were calmly eating the grass. They were eating grass, they were fighting with one another to eat more grass. And just one goat, next goat dying. And then Prabhupada would say that is our situation. That we see death all around us. Each one of us know we're going to die. But we're calmly eating the grass, or we're trying to steal grass from other people. And we eat that. So, but when we develop a healthy fear of material life, and using that fear, we expunge these contaminations from our heart. So after the Shadgarbhas, who appeared? Who was the seventh son of Devaki? Lord Balaram. So as we purify our heart, so Balaram is considered to be the Adi Guru. He is the original spiritual master. So a spiritual master appears in our life. So when Lord Balaram appeared in the womb of Devaki, by his instruction, Yogmaya, she transferred him from the womb of Devaki to that of Rohini. So Rohini is one of the other wives of Vasudeva, who had escaped the persecution of Kamsa and was living. So Vasudeva and Nanda Baba, they have a common grandmother. So they're kind of like brothers, cousins, I guess. So, Nanda Baba was living as a Vaishya in the village, and Vasudeva was living as a Kshatriya in Mathura. So he had sent Rohini over to take protection from Nanda Baba. That's where she was living. So by the influence of Yogmaya, Lord Balaram, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini, or he was attracted by the womb of Rohini Devi, and that's why one of the names that he has is Sankarshan. So Sankarshan means being attracted, and because he was attracted in this way, he's called Sankarshan. Sankarshan also, for those of you who have done science in Hindi, Sankarshan also means gravity. So as we know, the force that holds the whole universe together is gravity. And Lord Sankarshan is also considered to be the force that holds the material world together. So Rohini Devi, after 7 months, she had Lord Balaram, and later on at the name giving ceremony. So I'm focusing more on Lord Balaram, but of course Sri Krishna is an integral part of it. So in the meantime, Sri Krishna appears in the womb of Devaki. Vasudeva takes him into Gokul, and then subsequently there is this name giving ceremony in which Garga Muni, he gives the name of the 2 children of Nanda Baba, and then he glorifies both. He glorifies Lord Balaram. So, contrary to what we understand, Lord Balaram was actually much more attractive than Krishna. So, so the name that Gargamuni gave was Ram. So Ram is the root word of Ramyate. So Ramyate means that one who completely inundates one's senses, one who becomes an integral part. And Lord Balaram is so beautiful that anyone who will see Lord Balaram becomes completely enchanted by Lord Balaram. And because Balaram is also the source of spiritual strength. So that's the position of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is the source of our spiritual strength. If he sees us going here and there, he corrects us. When we are going in the right path, he encourages us. Sometimes the Guru will chastise you, sometimes the Guru will appreciate you, sometimes the Guru will give you advice that may not be the best what you want to hear, but the strength of the spiritual master is what is driving your spiritual life. So that is why Garimuni said that he is also Bal. Bal means that he is the spiritual strength. And the other names of Lord Balaram that are there is, so one of the other names that he said is he will also be known as by his weapons. So what is the weapon that Lord Balaram carries? Plough, right? So that's why he's called Haldar. So this is not in the Bhagavatam, and I'm not sure where the origin of it is, but it's a popular notion at least that Lord Balaram carries the plough, which represents the farming community, and Krishna represents the Gwala, the community that takes care of the cows. And as long as any community where these two pillars are strongly nourished, that the farmers and those who are protecting the cows, taking care of the cows, that nation will automatically flourish. So some kind of a nod to Vedic society. Vedic society was based on taking care of cows and taking care of land. And Krishna and Balaram are the presiding deity of this. So when Lord Balaram was growing in Vrindavan with Krishna, he's very close to Krishna. He's a year older, so he also has a bit of vatsalyas, a parental emotion. So many times, even though because he's an elder brother, he also troubles Krishna a lot, and that's to some extent like what brothers do. But he's very protective about Krishna also, and many times he will chastise Krishna. Don't go into the water. Don't be there. Sometimes he will chastise Krishna's friends that this is too much of a rough play. Kanna will not like it. Many times he will go back to Yashoda Mai and complain about Krishna. That Krishna is doing this, Krishna is doing that. And sometimes to get him into trouble, but also to make sure that Krishna doesn't hurt him. So he has this parental mood. And he also has the Sakya Bhava, that they're friends, they're inseparable. So when Krishna left Vrindavan, the only person who accompanied him was Lord Balaram. Nobody else from Vrindavan went with Krishna because they're inseparable. So he also has this Sakya Bhava. Lord Balaram also, through his expansion, has Madhurya Ras with Krishna. So the younger sister of Srimati Radharani is Ananga Manjari. And Ananga Manjari is an expansion of Lord Balaram. So Ananga Manjari is glorified in Vrindavan Mahatmya as being very, very beautiful, having a preference of wearing clothes that are color of blue lotus, and very dear to Krishna as a gopi. So, Lord Balaram has the unique position that he serves Krishna in all the five levels. That as his expansion into the spiritual world, he serves Krishna in the Shanta Rasya. As Ananta Shesh, he serves him in the Dasya Rasya. As Lord Balaram, he serves him in Sakya and Vatsalya Ras. And as Ananga Manjari, he serves Krishna in Madhurya Ras. So he has this unique position. Otherwise, most of the people serve the Lord in one rasa or two rasa. But that's why Krishna is called, Lord Balaram is called the servant of God. That he serves Krishna in all possible ways. So I'll take a pause over here. And after that I'll speak a little bit about some of the pastimes of Lord Balaram and Vrindavan and later on in Dwarka. But I'll see if there's any comments or discussion. Yes, sir.
Prabhu, you just said Devaki had sons, whereas we are watching a TV show and that it shows that she had got two daughters in. Yeah.
She had
Only
one.
kid was Krishna.
Seventh was a daughter.
Seventh was daughter. Yogmaya.
That is what
Hmm?
I have heard. Yeah. The seventh was a daughter.
I think the eighth was exchanged.
Seventh is exchanged.
No, Krishna was exchanged by a.
No,
That was the eighth.
Yeah.
Eighth was the daughter.
Eighth was Krishna.
Hmm?
Krishna was the last one.
Eighth one.
So Krishna disappeared, right? So
He disappeared.
so the eighth pregnancy of Devaki was Krishna.
Yeah.
So Vasudeva,
Yeah.
he took Krishna and he took him to Gokul,
Yeah.
and then Nanda Baba and Yashoda Mai had a daughter, so he brought the daughter back and placed her in the prison. So Kamsa thought that Devaki had a daughter.
Yeah.
So then Devaki said that, look, you only have to be afraid of my sons, not my daughter, so you should let her go. But Kamsa, he was so scared, he says, I don't know. The daughter might become the son, I don't know. So he tries to kill her also. So when he's trying to kill,
But I heard that even the one previous one were also daughters.
maybe in a different day of Brahma.
Maybe
So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, call this as Kalpabhed. That the pastimes, they happen more or less similar, but with some differences in different days of Brahma. So one day of Brahma is called a Kalpa. So maybe it's a Kalpabhed, but at least in this day of Brahma, there were 7 sons, the eldest being Kirtiman. Kirtiman was the first son that was born. Yeah.
So Lord Balaram, who is Lord Krishna's older brother, but he came to Gokul as well, right?
He came to Gokul, yeah.
So why was he treated like a son by Nanda? Because at that point it's clearly established that Lord Balaram is not Nanda Baba's son, right?
Well, he couldn't have been, right? Because Rohini was not Nanda Baba's wife.
Exactly. So why was it that Nanda Baba treated him like a son? Wasn't Rohini his sister?
Rohini was not his sister, but Vasudeva was his brother.
He considered Rohini was his sister.
Well, Rohini was the wife of his brother. So Vasudeva and Nand Baba, they are. So there was a king in the lineage who had 2 wives, one a Kshatriya wife and one a Vaishya wife. So from the Kshatriya wife came Vasudeva's lineage, and from the Vaishya wife came Nand Baba's lineage. So they were from the same forefather and different mothers, but they considered to be each other's brothers. Yeah.
So Rohini was Vasudeva's wife?
Vasudeva had 13 wives, and Rohini was one of the wives of Vasudeva.
How about like the previous incarnations of Krishna, like nursing behavior, what was it like? What does like Balaram came to those incarnations do, and then in Treta Yuga he was as a Lakshman to like why don't we just celebrate like Balaram Jayanti and just like taking the game of it, right?
Why don't we celebrate Matsya Jayanti?
You were like Lakshman.
Well, we do. We celebrate. We don't celebrate with them, but Lakshmana Parents Day is there.
Oh.
We do, but Krishna and Balaram to some extent are. So Prabhupada would say that there are degrees of perfection. So whenever Krishna comes, he is perfect. Whether he comes as Kurma or Vatsya, he is perfect. But when he comes as Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, he is Paripurnam. Then he's perfectly perfect. He's completely complete. There. So we also celebrate. We are fortunate that in our particular yuga, because Krishna does not come in every yuga. So we are fortunate that in our yuga Krishna has come. So it gives us an opportunity to celebrate.
So still I will answer the question, why did Nand Baba treat Lord Balaram like his son?
So he was his brother's son. So two things. That one was that Rohini was living under his shelter, so she was part of his household. Second is, he's his brother's son. And then in the Namkaran, then Garg Muni, he tells Nand Baba that these are both the sons of Vasudeva.
Okay.
They are the sons of Vasudeva.
Because many of the past times they act as much closer than the other Gopas in Vrindavan.
They are.
So obviously that relation is much tighter.
Much tighter. That's why when he left Vrindavan, then only Lord Balaram went with him, nobody else. So when Gargmuni did the Namkaran, then at the time he says that he talks about, he goes into the past and he talks that in the past they have come like this, they have come like this, they are the original personality of Godhead, this person is the source of Vishnu, Lord Balaram is Lord Balaram, and in this particular age they have taken birth from Vasudeva Devi. Right? So he tells them.
You mentioned in the class beginning the whole spiritual world is actually Balaram,
Right.
and at the same time we mentioned that this whole spiritual world is sentient, so it is full of different living entities. So because living entity is different from supreme personality of Godhead.
Right. So the understanding is that they're all acting under the guidance of Lord Balaram. So Lord Balaram, so just like Vrindavan is Vrinda Devi, right? So we say that the personification of Vraj is Vrinda Devi, but yet at Vrindavan we see so many things happening. Like there is Yamuna river, there is Govardhan, there are trees. They're all living entities, but they're all acting under the supervision of Vrinda Devi. She is orchestrating everything so that it is best suited for Krishna. If Krishna is going this way, then the breeze blows that way, then the leaves the flowers will become fragrant, the water will go that way. So everything comes, Prabhupada gives an example that of Sanatana Goswami, that he used to, the morning he would get up, he would do Govardhan Parikrama, and then he would go to Nandagram, and then he would do some puja there, then he would come back to Vrindavan. So he says if you measure the distance, it comes to be about 108 miles. And then Prabhupada said, of course nobody can walk 100, especially Sanatana Goswami, he was old. You can't walk 108 miles. Prabhupada gives the example that the special world is Balaram. So when in order to accommodate his devotees, it's like a lotus flower. It closes. So the places that are far away, they come close to him. And then when Krishna was doing the rasa dance, there were 1 billion gopis who were dancing with Krishna. So the whole spiritual world expanded at the time. So all that is happening because of Lord Balaram's mood of service to Krishna. Okay.
You said many people serve in 1 or 2 rasas, and what are the possible rasas?
So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, they say there are 5 possible rasas. There is Shantaras, which is serving in the mode of neutrality. Then there is Dasyaras, in the mood of servitorship. Then there is Sakhyaras, as friends. Then there is Vatsalyaras, as parents. And there is Madhuryaras, conjugal. So these are the 5 prominent rasas. And then there are what are known as sub-rasas. There are 12 minor rasas, like chivalry, virya, ashcharya, astonishment, hasya, humor. So they kind of appear within the primary rasas as ornaments. Like sometimes between Krishna and Radha, where the primary mood is Madhurya, there also comes anger. Right? So it's a secondary rasa that comes in order to embellish the primary rasa. But these are the 5 primary rasas.
And to reference, is the Bhagavatam is a reference or other books?
This is found just to make you feel a little guilty, this is a book that we discussed in the Tuesday discussions. and that you were not able to attend.
Thanks, I didn't find because it's too advanced for me.
Well, you can understand it now. So, but this is in a book written by Rupa Goswami called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Srila Prabhupada has he did not translate it word by word, but he has because the book is actually it's an advanced book, so he has a commentary on it that simplifies the concepts, which is called Nectar of Devotion. So it's explained in Nectar of Devotion. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So when Lord Balaram was in Vrindavan, then the general routine of Krishna and Balaram was that they would go out in the morning with the Gopa friends, and they would spend the day. When they were very small, they would just spend the day playing, and when they became a little older, then they would take the cows along with them, and they would take care of the cows. While the older friends, the older Gopas, they would take care of the cows. And one day, when they went with the cows, they came across a forest that was very nice fruits, tal fruits. And I haven't ever eaten one, but I understand it's supposed to be very tasty. So that forest was known as Balaram. So the trees were laden with these tal fruits, but there was nobody in the forest. And so the Gopas went to Krishna and Balaram, and they said that these are really sumptuous looking fruits. So we make arrangement for us that we should be able to eat them. And Krishna Balaram said, no problem, let's go in there. So the forest was actually terrorized by a very powerful demon that had assumed the form of an ass. He was known as Dhenukasur. And he and his friends, anybody who came to the forest, they would kill them. So that is why nobody actually entered the forest. So when Krishna Balaram along with the Gopa friends came in, and they started throwing stones at the tal fruits, and the tal fruits were really big. And when they fell down with a big splat. So there were a lot of noises, and the children were excited. So Dhenuka Suru was sleeping in a part of a forest. He heard this and he came running. And he came running and running, and when he saw the different boys, he attacked them. So he came and he kicked Krishna. And as he was attacking Krishna, Lord Balaram, he caught hold of his two hind legs, and with great force he rotated him around and around until he gave up his body. And then he threw his body on the top of the trees. And as his body fell, the trees, they all bent and they all dropped the fruits. And as one tree bent, another tree bent. And then the other friends of Dhenukasura also came, and Krishna and Balaram, for them it was very sporting. They caught the different other friends, other ass demons, and quickly disposed of them. And then after that, they had a great feast there. So the acharyas also say that Dhenuka, who has taken the form of an ass, represents our ass-like mentality. So the nature of an ass is that it does a lot of work for very little returns. So Prabhupada will give the example that a washerman has a donkey, and whole day he beat the donkey, and the donkey is working and getting stuff up and down, and then he will let it go, and then it will eat some grass that was growing anyway. So even if the donkey was not with the washerman, the grass would still be available. But because they don't have the conception, they work very, very hard and for very little gains. So one of the first things that the spiritual master does in our lives is to give us this sense of relativity. What is important and what is not important. That should we actually spend all our lives just running after things that in the end will be taken away anyway. Should we spend all our lives being something that is going to be diminishing, right? The point I make is that the only thing that is certain in life is death. Mortality is other than taxes, mortality is 100%. Right? Two things certain in life: death and taxes. If you're in India, maybe not, but there also death is certain, unless you are recorded over there. So that's the so the first demon that Lord Balaram killed in Braj was Dhenukasura. And the first demon that the spiritual master kills in us is that materialistic aspect mentality that we have of working very, very hard for very little returns. So Rupa Goswami and Uddeshamika, he says Atyahara Prayaschasya Prajalpanyamagraha. So he says, the six impediments to spirituality. He says Atyahara Prayaschas. Prayaschas is Atyahara is eating a lot. Prayaschas is over endeavoring for small material gains. One of the other demons that was killed by Lord Balaram in Vrindavan is Shaktasur. Shaktasur demon, right? No, Pralambasur. Another demon killed is Pralambasur. So Pralambasur appears a little later on, and he is a very powerful demon who had this ability to change his body. So he was sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna. So he disguised himself as a Gopa, and he joined the groups of Gopas that were playing with one another. So eventually they picked up a game that they played some game, and the loser would have to carry the winners on their shoulder. So he was in one group, and Lord Balaram was in the other group. So then it so happened. So even though he was sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna, when he came close to Krishna, he became scared, just by the potency of Krishna. So he understood that this boy is invincible, but he said, if I go back empty-handed, then Kamsa will get upset at me. So let me kill his brother. So when the whole thing happened, he arranged the whole thing that at the end of the game, he was the one who was carrying Lord Balaram on his shoulder. And then, so the boys were running, he was also running. The rest of the boys stopped, but he continued to run. And he started running away, taking Lord Balaram on his shoulder, with the idea that he will eventually be alone and he will kill Lord Balaram. And then all the Gopa boys were saying, oh my God, what's happened? Poor Balaram, poor Balaram. And Krishna said, not poor Balaram, poor demon who was carrying Balaram. Because what happened is that as he was carrying, Balaram started making himself heavy. And Balaram he carries the weight of the whole universe on him. So the demon started getting tired and tired, and he then assumed his original form as a large demon reaching all the way to the sky, and he tried to push Lord Balaram off his shoulder, and then Balaram with his hand he cracked open his skull, and he died. So Pralambasur. So there's some backstory of Pralambasur. So Pralambasur indicates attraction for superficial material things. So Pralambasur was kind of like what you would call a snazzy dresser. That he liked wearing jewels, and he considered himself to be, even though he was like a demon, but he considered himself to be very handsome, and he always wore very expensive clothes, etc. So that was his mentality there, which is what something as we become more advanced in our spirituality. The idea is so one of the translations of sadhu is simple. So simple living, high thinking, not applicable to Mataji. Only
Thank you, Today only you have to free. In every dress of today, one day.
No, because the Mataji is dressed to please Krishna. So. So that was one of the other demons that was killed by Lord Balaram. So over the course of the stay in Vrindavan, many demons attacked Krishna. Right from Putna to Shaktasur, Tlavarta. So Lord Balaram became very concerned about Krishna, and he said one day he went to Krishna, and he said, today you stay home, and you give me your peacock feather, you give me your flute, and I will go and see which demon is there. Krishna said, okay. So Balaram took Krishna's peacock feather, stuck it on his head, took his flute, put it on his waist, and he went around Vrindavan. So that day, Kamsa had sent a specially powerful demon called Keshi demon, the horse demon. So when Kamsa sent Keshi, Keshi said, how will I recognize who Krishna is? I said, that boy always has a peacock feather and he has a flute. So Keshi was disguised as a horse. He was looking around searching for such a boy, and then he saw Balaram. And Balaram had that day he had a peacock feather and a flute. So Keshi came running, and he kicked Balaram in the chest, and he kicked him so hard that Lord Balaram he was unconscious. And Keshi thought that he had killed Krishna, so he ran away. So then Balaram, after a few seconds, he got up, and his chest hurt really badly. So he went home, and then he went to Krishna. He said, keep your feather, keep your flute. I'm never going to take it again. He went to Mother Rohini, he went on to her lap and went to sleep over there. So Keshi was actually the last demon that Kamsa sent to Vrindavan. Because after that, Krishna and Balaram, they leave Vrindavan and they. Of course, the next day Keshi demon comes again and Krishna kills him. and then after that they go to Mathura. So there are many other pastimes of Lord Balaram that appear later on. Balaram's
When does Balaram kill Devada?
so those pastimes happen in Dwarka. There, or after they leave Vrindavan, in either Mathura or in Dwarka. So some of the other personalities that Lord Balaram kills is Devada, the gorilla demon. He kills the brother of Rukmini. He kills him. Then he at one point he takes one of the sons of Krishna, Samba. He actually kidnaps the daughter of Duryodhana. So at that time the Kauravas they captured Samba and they put him in prison. So generally Balaram is the more fiery one, but this time Krishna was upset and he said, "I'll go and annihilate the whole dynasty." So Balaram said, "You're angry, don't be angry, I'll take care of it." So he comes back to Hastinapur, and there is Duryodhana and Karan and all the Kuru warriors, and Balaram tries to be the mediator, saying that don't fight, be peaceful. But they were very angry that your son, he dared kidnap our princess. And then they started insulting Krishna, they started insulting the Vrishnis. So then Lord Balaram is quick to get angry also. And he said that you're talking such big words, let me show you something. So with his plow, he put the plow into the land of Hastinapur and he dragged Hastinapur into Yamuna river. So when the Kauravas saw the whole city being dragged into Yamuna river, they all came and they surrendered to Lord Balaram. And Duryodhana is a master politician, very good at words. And he says, actually we are very happy that a daughter is being married in such a big dynasty. But we are Kshatriyas, so we have to display some valor. And Duryodhana said, at marriages it is normal for some amount of friction to happen, but does not mean you take a city and you put it into Yamuna river. So then they marry Samba with the daughter of Duryodhana. He goes back with them. So Balaram's wife is an eternal consort named Revati. And Revati actually appeared very early on in one of the earlier yugas, and during the time of another Manu, in a different Manvantara. And she was so beautiful that her father had this problem that he could not get anybody suitable to marry his daughter. She was in the Satyug, and very, at least her father thought, and rightly so I guess, that my daughter is perfect in all ways. So many kings and princes would come, but he would always find something that by which they were lacking. So finally he said that I can't have my daughter not be married. So he took Revati and went to the court of Brahma to find out who is the man who is suitable for his daughter. And Brahma was busy for a few minutes, so Revati was waiting. And then after Lord Brahma said, "How can I help you?" So then he said, "This is my problem, and where do I marry my daughter?" So then Lord Brahma started laughing and he said that in the time that you have been over here, several yugas have already passed. All your family has long died. All the people that you know have died. Their children have died and their grandchildren have died. Now Maharaj Deva said, we have a bigger problem. So he had single-minded mind, I want to get my daughter married. He's not worried about the fact that all his family has died and his kingdom has been destroyed. So he's like very focused. So he says, then what about my daughter? Where do I get my daughter married? So Brahma says that it so happens that the personality of Godhead has appeared in the 28th Mahayuga, So without wasting any time over here before that, because time moves differently. Brahma's planet is up there. So a moment of Brahma is like 1,000,000 years for us. So Brahma said, without wasting any more time, you go back and you approach Lord Balaram and pray for him to accept your daughter. Because he's perfect in all ways, because he's the personality of God. So Revat, he quickly comes down, and at that time Lord Balaram is in Dwarka, and he presents his daughter, and Lord Balaram accepts her because she also is eternal consort. And the only one problem was that Revati was taller than Balaram.
Very, very tall.
Because she belonged, so people in Satyug were much bigger. So every Yukra that comes in, the lifespan becomes shorter, and the stature and the size of people also become less. I remember we were once doing this tour in Jaipur, and they were showing us some of the armor that the people of the Rajputs over there had, and they were like really heavy. I mean, I'm not very strong to begin with, but even small things, like the things that they put on their hands, they were like such large circumference, and that's just like maybe 200 years old. So then Lord Balaram with his lotus feet, he stepped on the feet of Revati, and with his plow, he put it on her head and he brought her down to the right size, little bit shorter. Lord Balaram's, does anybody know who is the favorite disciple of Lord Balaram? Duryodhana. He actually, Duryodhana, he takes instruction from Garg Muni of how to please Lord Balaram. So the stotras that are chanted to please Lord Balaram are actually appearing in a conversation between Garg Muni and Duryodhana. And Duryodhana was also a disciple of Balaram in mace fighting. So both Bhim and Duryodhana were disciples, but Balaram was Lord Balaram was especially because the Guru always is a little bit more inclined to a disciple who's following instructions more closely. So Lord Balaram was always a little bit more inclined towards Duryodhana. And at the end of the Mahabharata, when the Mahabharata starts, then Lord Balaram leaves. He says, I can't do all this politics and all that stuff. So he goes on a Tirth Yatra all over the country, and then he returns after the 18th day of the battle. The Mahabharata is finished, and he comes at the point where Bhima and Duryodhana are having this battle, mace fight between them. And both of them are students of Lord Balaram. So both of them are well matched. Bhima is stronger, but Duryodhana is more skillful. And Duryodhana has also the advantage that his body is of Vajra because of the glance of his mother. So Bhima is finding it very difficult to kill Duryodhana, and then finally Krishna asks him to attack him on his thighs, which by the code of battle is not allowed. But Bhima does what Krishna asks. So that time Balaram gets very upset, and he actually steps forward to kill Bhima. So Krishna at that time he pacifies Lord Balaram and gives him, he begs him to let Bhima go, which Balaram of course does. And then Lord Balaram also appears in the speaking of the Bhagavatam, that when the sages of Naimisharanya, they congregated, and they had appointed Romaharshan as the speaker of the Bhagavatam. So Romaharshan is the disciple of Srila Vyasadeva, and Srila Vyasadeva had entrusted the Puranas to Romaharshan. So Romaharshan is exalted devotee, and Romaharshan was sitting on the Vyasthan. The 88,000 stages in Naimisharanya were sitting, getting ready to hear the Bhagavatam. At that time, Lord Balaram enters, and these sages, they're all exalted personalities. So seeing Lord Balaram, they could understand that he is the personality of Godhead. So they all got up and gave obeisances to Lord Balaram, with the exception of Romaharsha. And Lord Balaram, he takes a kusha grass and he cuts the head of Romaharsha there. So the acharyas comment that Romaharsha was killed not because Lord Balaram was upset at him, because he's the personality of Godhead. He does not have this thing that ego that you disrespected me, so I have to kill you, etc. But Lord Balaram killed Romaharsha because he understood that he is not the suitable candidate to speak Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam is not about dharma, it's about paradharma. So according to the course of dharma, Romaharsha was right. Because when a person sits on the Vyasthan, the person at that point is representing Srila Vyasadeva, who is representing Krishna. So at that point, the person is not supposed to give obeisances to anybody, because he is sitting in that position of authority. So that is the code of dharma. The code of paradharma is, if you see the personality of Godhead, give him obeisances. Don't worry about rules and regulations and am I sitting on the Vyasthan, or is it Ekadashi or Dwadashi, or is it morning or evening? You see the personality of Godhead, you give obeisances. That is paradharma. No rules, no everything is subservient to this rule that with all your heart and with all your intelligence, worship the Lord. So Romaharsha was sitting there, going to speak about Bhagavatam, which does not speak about dharma. Vyasadeva had already spoken about dharma. He had written the Vedas, he had written the Upanishads, they all speak about dharma. The Bhagavatam was going to speak about paradharma. And Lord Balaram understands that this person is not suitable for this position. So that's why he killed Romaharsha. And the sages, just before that, they had given Romaharsha this benediction that may you live for 1,000 years. So they were all Brahmins. The word of a Brahman can never become untrue. So because they wanted to make sure that Romaharsha lives while he performs the yajna and speaks the Bhagavatam, so they gave him this benediction. And right after they gave the benediction, Lord Balaram comes and kills Romaharsha. So the Brahmins, there was a great cry of anguish that he had made a word come untrue. We just gave him this benediction that he will live a long life. And Lord Balaram says, if you want, I can bring him back to life. And then the Brahman said that we can understand that whatever you have done for a purpose. And whatever you do is always right. But at the same time, we are Brahmins. Our only wealth is our vachan. Our only wealth is that we never speak something that is untrue. So do something by which we are also preserved and you are also preserved. So then Lord Balaram says that his son is a representative of a father. So the son of Romaharsha, Sutta Goswami, will now take his position. All the benedictions that were given to Romaharsha, they are applicable to Sutta Goswami. The son is, a qualified son is as good as the father. So that way your benedictions are also true. And then the sages also asked them that in Naimisharanya there was a particular demon that was terrorizing them. I think the name was Balwal. So they asked him to kill him, but Balaram killed the demon also. So and there are many more pastimes of Lord Balaram, but I'll stop here. So we pray to Lord Balaram that just as he is completely engaged in the service of Krishna, just like Nityananda Prabhu is completely engaged in the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he established the Sankirtan dharma of chanting. But Nityananda Prabhu was the one who actually, this whole notion of Namhat was started by Nityananda Prabhu. This whole notion of Sankirtan. Nityananda Prabhu was the most enthusiastic proponent of that. So we pray to Lord Balaram that he helps us develop the same mood. That he helps us, he engages us in his service, just as he is fully engaged in the service of Krishna.
also gives spiritual strength.
Right. Okay, so we'll stop here and see if there's any questions or comments.
Two questions. First one, like when Balaram decorated himself like Krishna, and when Keshi demon comes and hits him, like, is there any metaphorical understanding for that?
Not that I know of.
And the second one is, does Nityananda Prabhu, like, he carries the brotherly relation with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or is there any brotherly?
Yeah, they.
So Prabhu was a Christian.
So his question is, does Nityananda Prabhu also relate to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a brother? Right, and yes, they were. So Nityananda Prabhu is, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left Navdeep and went to Jagannath Puri, Nityananda Prabhu was the only person who went along with him to Jagannath Puri. Otherwise, he had so many close associates there, he asked them to stay back. Nityananda Prabhu was the only one who went there. He was always by the side of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Till the time, at one point Chaitanya Prabhu asked them to, he gives them some different service, and then Nityananda Prabhu. But God Nitai said they are the two brothers that spread the Sankirtan.
And by blood relation also is there too? Like,
Not by blood relation, because Nityananda Prabhu is the son of Adai Vaja and Padmavati, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the son of Jagannath Mishra. So not by blood relation. And Nityananda Prabhu, at least in Chaitanya Leela, Nityananda Prabhu is about 20 years older than 12 years older. So yeah, 12 years older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
What is the difference between Dharma and Mahadharma?
Paradharma.
Paradharma.
So dharma is the principles of religion that basically enable one to lead a moral life. Right. Follow the principles of religion, give in charity, follow the various dictates that are given in the scripture, whether they are that of morality or even of spirituality. So they are typically enjoined in Vedas and Upanishads. Right? So that is dharma. Paradharma is also known as Bhagavad Dharma, where the focus is simply service of Krishna. It does not lend itself so much to rules and regulations, does not lend itself so much to rituals. The focus is more like we were discussing on jap, right? If you were to do worship, even if you have to do mantra upasana by dharma, so Gayatri is an example, like chanting the Gayatri mantra. So if you were to do the chanting of the Gayatri mantra under dharma upasana, it's very rigorous. That you have to take a bath, you have to sit in a certain direction, hold your Brahman thread, and then at a particular time in the day recite. So Smarta Brahmans that take this, you can see that they follow this and they follow the rules and regulations also. But when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we say there's no rules and regulations. You can chant even if you haven't taken a bath, you can chant even if you're in an unclean state. That is an example of Paradharma. The focus is simply, we are praying to Krishna that give us an opportunity to serve you. That's the only thing that we are asking. So the essence of the Bhagavatam is Paradharma. So one of the verses that come very early in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when the sages ask the question to Sutta Goswami, then he says, the sages say, what is the purpose of all the scriptures? And then the Sutta Goswami says, Savai Pumsha Parodharmo Yato Bhakti Yato Saje Ahitukiya Pratiyata Yatma Suprasati. Savai Pumsha Parodharmo. So Pumsha is people. That the highest religion, Savai Pumsha Parodharmo Yato Bhakti Yato Saje, is the worship of Krishna. One of Krishna's name is Adok Saje. Yato Bhakti Adok Saje. So Pumsha Parodharmo Yato Bhakti Ahitukiya Pratiyata Yatma Suprasati. That Ahitukiya Pratiyata, it should be causeless, without any desires for any material traits. The Atma superseded, executed with happiness and bliss.
Why did like Balaram killed Sutta Goswami's father? That's okay, like Balaram like he should have been given a blessing, but he could just like say, okay, you are not eligible because you don't understand fully. Like, what was the like main reason behind like killing him?
So when you meet Lord Balaram, you ask him. So there are some whys that cannot be answered. So you're right, he could have done several things.
Yeah.
He could have made him a frog, he could have made him a bird.
Yeah.
You know, he's God, he could do anything. But he did it again because he's God. So Prabhupada said, Vaishnava Mudra ki bujai. Like, forget about God. Vaishnava Mudra ki bujai. Like, one cannot understand the mind of a Vaishnava also.
And I just like I wasn't knowing about that.
There is so one thing you have to also understand that being killed by God is a big thing, right? It's not a small thing. That by his own hand, I mean, Krishna is killing all of us, but he's killing us by the wheels of time. But can you imagine by his own hands somebody getting killed? People in Jagannath Puri, they jump under the wheels of the chariot, right? Just to get that thing. So in a way, it's an acknowledgement of Romaharshan's elevated stature. The Lord Balaram with his own lotus fingers took a kusha grass and touched it to his heart, and he died. And Romaharshan was an exalted devotee. The name Romaharshan means Roma means hair, and Harshan means happy. So when Romaharshan would hear the pastimes of the Lord, his head would stand up in happiness. And he is the direct disciple of Vyasadeva. So he is no small figure, he is a great figure himself. So everything, when you are in contact with Krishna, everything is mercy, one way or the other. But when you did this and that, you definitely get an opportunity to ask. Okay, so we do Nasidev prayers. Jai Shri Lord Balaram ki Jai.